Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode. My name is Jamie and I am restoring this Triumph TR6 for a friend of mine. Now if you have watched the other or previous two episodes that I've done on the bodywork, you'll know what stage I'm kind of at, and today I have finished off the B-post that you can't see because it's underneath there of course, and I have also tacked the sill panel in position. I haven't welded it because I need to get the alignment. So up until now it was fairly easy repairs, but this is actually the harder bit, is getting everything to line up, because as you can see we have three sections, the front wing, the door and the rear wing. They're all separate panels so they can all move independently, and you have to get the gaps perfectly correct, otherwise the car looks terrible. So where am I at? I've only put a couple of bolts in the front wing, so it's not perfectly secured yet. And as you'll see here, if I kind of hold this into position where it should fall when it's secured, this gap here is actually quite nice against the sill. And also at the back here, it's not too bad, needs a little bit of adjustment. The door gap where it goes against the sill is nice and even, but it's a little bit too large for what I would like. 4mm would be quite nice, and this is probably about, I don't know, 7. So it's a little too large. And if we look at the panel gap here, it's massive. And it actually tapers, so it's thick. The gap is bigger at the top and it tapers down and it gets a bit smaller, not much smaller, but a bit at the bottom there. And it's the same with the back of the door. It's slightly bigger here and it narrows down quite a lot at the bottom here. So because from factory these cars had shims between the body and the chassis, so you can actually tweak the panel gaps. So obviously if you move the front up, then this gap will close by lifting the front end of the car up away from the chassis. And then it's the same at the back. If I lift the back up, that will close this gap up. The other day we picked up this shim kit. So you have these rubber strips that fit between the chassis and the body for insulation, and then you have these rubber grommets as well, and these basically sandwich between two metal plates, and I need to make some of those because we didn't have enough of them. And then again we have these, and I believe these go in here, so you can see there's a bit of a gap there, so they just fill that gap. And again they have these rubber washers in between them. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to secure the front and rear wing on with more bolts, so it's nice and secure and in the position it should be. So I'll do that with the front and the back, see if the gap changes at all, and then I'm going to start playing with the shims on the body to see if I can close that up. Now I'm not going to be able to close this up to exactly where I would like it, so like I said, about 4mm, but I can add metal to the bottom of the door and, well, wherever it needs to be added. So it's a lot of fiddly work, but that's kind of what is necessary, and this car has to be perfect. Now I use these body magnets, which are amazing, and they save you so much time because the door is basically just held on with the magnets. So you can align the door like a little adjustment here and there, and it holds the door in position. The company name is on there. I'll put a link in the description because I can't pronounce it. They're a German company, but otherwise I would have to bolt the door on. And with a build like this, the door has to go on and come off multiple times, and yeah, these just save you so much time. So these are essential for a build like this, in my opinion. You can see how strong they are. You can lift the whole door up with one magnet. Fantastic. Okay, so here's the B-post that's in position now. And like I said, I've just tacked the outer sill in place, and I think it's pretty much where it should be. And then this gap here, it's not too bad. It goes a little bit tight at the bottom there, but that will open up when I shim the body because the gap at the top is a bit too big. And then the same here. If I hold this in position, I think that that's actually pretty good. So I have fastened down the front wing and the rear wing a bit better. Not every single bolt is in, but they're both secure now. And I've also shimmed up the front and the rear of the car, and the gaps have closed. I'll show you. So as you can see, the gaps are obviously not perfect, but they have closed up considerably. The gap at the bottom is even as before, and this is still a bit of a pinch at the bottom here compared to the top, but I'm quite happy now that it is achievable by shimming the body, that I can close those gaps up a bit and then make the adjustments. So I think what I'll do now is remove them again, weld the sill up completely, because I'm quite happy with the gaps here also and here. It's too tight at the bottom compared to the top, but obviously that will open up at the bottom when I lift the rear of the car, because that will close that gap up and open that up, hopefully. Just finished off welding in the sill and cleaning off the welds, and it's come out really well. It's just that corner left to adjust the fit and weld that into, but this has come out really nicely and everything lines up. As you can see, if you look down the length of it, it all looks good. I've just got to put that end cap in. Okay, I've been doing a couple of the small repairs on the back end here, so I'll show you. I have cut these out. I repaired the inner piece. I just need to weld this piece on there, and that's done. And also this piece is going to go in there. And then I've cut this to fit, so that just needs to be welded in. I'll let the paint dry off. So that's ready to go in before I tackle this piece and this piece. I also removed all of this sealant stuff. I don't really know why it was placed where it was, because it's not really, it's normally have a seam sealer that obviously seals the seams, but this wasn't really on the seams, so that's been removed as well. Progress update. So this piece here is done. This little corner here is done, and this is in here, come out quite well. I still need to put that end cap in there, and then I'm just repairing this piece here, which this is the old piece that was really rotten. So I've used MIG welding to do this, and if I look on the other side, you can see that the penetration is good. So I just need to clean those up and then move on to this bit. But I'll show you the tool I use to make these indentations. So what we have here is a bead roller. This particular one is by a company called Bailey, which I believe is American. And this is a really nice machine. And I shall demonstrate how to use it tomorrow. Okay, next day in the workshop, and we're going to attempt to make this replacement panel. So as you can see, it has this pressing in it, and it also has one there. Just figuring out how I want to make, or where I'm going to make my cut lines, and I think I'm going to replace the whole thing. So I've just made this paper template like this, and then I'll mark on this where these curves are, transfer it onto steel, and see if we can replicate it. One thing to note is when you're welding sheet metal, it's always good practice not to weld to a point, meaning like a straight cut like this, And this is because if you weld to a point, you're putting a lot of heat into that corner. So it's always good practice to make a curve like this, which I didn't do on this. And it's different for different applications. I mean, if this was an outer body panel, then I would definitely have not done it like this. But this is, you have to decide when you use that method and when you don't need to really, or where you can get away with it. So there's actually a lot of strength in this. Wherever there's a bend or a fold in a piece of sheet metal, it puts strength into that panel. So as you can see here, it has this nice bend here and put strength in, so that's why I didn't worry too much. Plus it's going underneath the rear wing. When I grind this down, it shouldn't even really notice it's been repaired, but yeah. So what I'm gonna do next is put this on here, and I'm gonna actually rub onto the piece of paper where these lines are with a wooden handle of a hammer maybe, and that will mark onto the card where these lines are that I need to put in on the bead roller. Okay, so rubbing on the card with just the end of a wooden handle of a hammer and kind of feeling with my finger, I've marked where the lines are, and also I need to make this little bit here, so I've also marked that so I can cut this out on the card later. So I need to trim this a little bit more for that curve, and then I can transfer it onto the metal. Roughly cut this piece out, and now I'm going to use these tin snips or aviation snips to cut the rest out. When you're cutting metal out like this, it's always best to cut off slim pieces with these rather than thick pieces, because it's very hard to cut. So I always roughly cut out with this, and then I trim it down accurately with these snips. Also, you have different color handle snips. These are left-handed snips or left cutting snips, and what this means is when you cut with these, whatever is on the left of the blade is actually the waste. So when you cut, this piece will actually curl up. So bear that in mind when you're cutting your metal, that you don't have these the wrong way around, because if you have them the wrong way around, the piece that you want to use, it will curl up and you would need to hammer it flat again. Also, another tip when you're using these aviation snips is that you can use them both way around, but when you're cutting, you should never fully close them when you're cutting like this, because I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it leaves these little dents. So when you cut, you just want to almost close them, not all the way, and then it leaves a nice clean cut like that. Okay, after I've cut that out, I had to hammer the edges down a little bit. I lay my template over the top, and to transfer these lines, I'm going to use a punch and a hammer and just lightly tap on the line like this, and then I can mark on my metal exactly where I need to use the bead roller to make the indentation. Right, so let's move over to the bead roller. Now, this has many different rollers for making different marks on your metal. Like you can make rounded pieces. These are for flared edges, etc, etc. But we're going to use these ones which have like a little step in them. So I've got this scrap piece for a demonstration. So what you do is you wind this down, and then all you do is you push your pedal if it's running the right way, which it's not. Flick the switch, and then you just roll this through without catching your fingers. And you see what that leaves is a little step in there like that. So that's what we're going to use. Voila! So for this other indentation, I've flipped the piece over and I could just make out where I'd made those punch marks. So I marked the other side of the work, and now I'm going to put that through. And there we have it. Nice! Okay, let's cut this out. It's actually spot welded along here because we have the boot floor. And then obviously this rear panel is wrapped around here as well, so I need to cut that off and make this little section. And also I need to drill these holes. So I'll drill the holes before I put this in, maybe. No, I'll drill the holes afterwards because this is actually going to be quite thin. So when I weld this, it's better not to have that hole there to distribute the heat. So let's get this old piece off. Maybe I should demonstrate, if you are doing a curved corner, like I mentioned earlier, I like to use these step, also known as Christmas tree drill bits. So they're in steps. So I actually like to drill out the corner like this. And that gives you a nice round radius. Boom. So I cut that section out because this floor pan actually has a lip pointing down on the bottom here, which is spot welded against. So I'm going to get my trusty chisel out, but I can see clearly where the spot welds are. So I often like to mark them when I can see them like that. And as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I like to cut these with the chisel and then pull off the spot welds. But you can also, if you're careful, just cut like that between the spot welds. Get your pipe grips, carefully bend the corners over. Wiggle it off like that. So there it is, ready to be welded in. So I have trimmed it a little bit to fit, and I need to make some drill holes here to plug weld it to the boot floor lip, and then I'll just seam weld that in, clean it up. Then I need to make this little outer piece that wraps around from the rear panel, and then job done, drill the holes. So that's now ready to be welded in. I just need to make this little piece here. So what I did is I cut that off of my previous template. So I transfer that onto steel, and that's exactly the shape I need. There it is, all welded up. I always like to clean my welds up with a wire brush on a drill. Then you can see if you've missed any spots, etc. So I just need to grind these two down and put that end piece on here, and it's done. So here it is completed, all welded in, cleaned up, etc, etc. I wouldn't even know it's been repaired really. And that's just how my skill level is. And Ollie's in the house. Okay, so that side of the car is now done pretty much. So the next thing, excuse me, the next thing I'm going to do is take the car off of here, turn it around so I can then repair. Excuse me, Ollie, can you be quiet please? I'm trying to film. And then we're going to, oh. This is very important YouTube video. So we're going to turn the car around with the chassis, and then I can do the other side. So before we remove the car from the ramp, I'm just reinstalling these strengthening bars. And one thing I forgot to mention is one day last week, me and Ollie went and picked up a new old bonnet. So this was actually quite reasonably priced. We went and picked it up from Holland. And the lines, if you look down, I know it's not fitted yet, but I would say that's pretty damn good. Maybe I can't use the magnet.
It's metal.
Now I'm going to put it here, look. There we go. Rolling. Hold on, it's not here, look. Can you see the light bouncing off my spot?
Maybe you should get a cap instead of me.
No, I'll get a bandana. Alright. I kind of wish we had started with this the other way around, and I've done that because I prefer the car being this way around. So we might have to swap it around again.
Oh, we have to swap it around for sure. But that's why I said maybe we'll open the job to work on this side now. Because
yeah.
what are we gonna do this? Well, that's weird, but
We'll find out, won't we?
going that way. Wait, slow. Wait. Now you get out of the car and then walk around.
I'm just going to walk around.
Why don't you walk around the front? What are you doing now?
Doing this.
That's not useless. Come on, hurry up. No, just pick up the back now. You're supposed to take it over. No,
I was fine.
I was helping you so you don't have to get over it.
I was fine.
And then you walk around and take it from me, and then I was going to take it further from there.
Communication.
Jamie.
This is going to be a hard bit turning that around.
But I think we have to go.
Yeah, do we have to move everything this way then?
The back end comes. Turn it around.
Should we open the doors and just walk it straight out and then come back around again?
It's going to be easier. Want to do that?
No, I prefer a challenge.
Okay, well then let's do the challenge then. Ready?
No? Yeah. How much room you got there?
That's it. You over? Almost. Yeah. You have to go further. Yeah, that's it. Well, I can't get through. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Further. Yeah. Slow. Yeah? Oh man, Jamie, this is the worst.
Easy as that. We swap it around. Yeah, this side is the worst side, isn't it?
Look at that.
But at the same time, it's... Oh yeah, look, I have to decide whether to replace the whole of this sill. It's weird because some areas are actually better. This is better than the other side was. Yeah. This is worse. This corner is the same bit of corrosion on there.
Same here, but that part.
Yeah. So it's pretty... What about the back here? This is a lot worse here, but this is the...
Yeah.
This I need to replace part of the top, whereas the other side I didn't have to. This. And what's this like here? Same area again here. I wonder why this... Do you think all the dirt gets collected up here?
Yeah, I think so.
And same again, this needs to be fixed. But still, it's a bit worse, but it's not that much different to the other side. So now I've completed one side. I have to do that all over again on this side, but super happy with the progress so far. And again, this lip here also needs to be replaced pretty much all the way down here. And I also need to do a little bit more of a repair on this side. But so once those two sides are done, next up, or what's left after that, is this firewall needs to be repaired. And there's a hole there where the battery sits, obviously leaked at some stage. And then this front panel is going to be completely replaced. You can see it's quite bad. Wasn't worth repairing that, just got a brand new panel for that. And you can see the side that I repaired. I've just cleaned this all up a little bit so it doesn't even look like it's been repaired. There's also a bit on this rear corner here and along this lip that will need to be addressed. This rear panel is actually really good, so that's good news. And as you can see in the boot floor, very fortunate that this is in good shape. Take time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for this episode. I'm going to be going to England for a couple of weeks in a few days for Christmas and New Year. And I probably, when I get back here after Christmas, I probably won't bother filming a lot of these repairs because it's only going to be the same as what I did on the other side. So there's no point really. If there's anything different that I come up against, then I'll post a video, obviously, of the progress. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.